Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to work with the double needles again, and I went ahead and I'm going to use the big one here. So it's the one that is the whitest because I feel like we ran out of time. The video ran a little bit long, so let's go ahead and get started. I've already put the needle and the thread on my machine. I went ahead and I put a stiff stabilizer on the back. This stabilizer, I believe, is the SF101. You can use any that you want because you can always add more. Now this stays on the fabric, this does not come off. And if it is the S101, I think it is because I used it for a lot of my little bookmarks that we made, Megan and I made for Christmas one year. And it stiffens up really good, and we even put little batting in between them and everything, all kinds of stuff. But when we got done, we did enough quilting on it that it was flat, so you could actually put it in a book and it wouldn't break the spine or anything, because that's your concern when you're going to make any kind of bookmark. So let me go ahead and I'm going to show you some practice stitching. Now when you use these large needles, unless you have a foot, and I do not have a foot that's wider than the two needles, and they are from the left and the right of my foot, you can't do zigzagging. So what you would do is top stitching. So let me go ahead and go along here so we can take a look at it and see what it looks like. And I'm using a 2.5 inch length. And it looks really nice. Now, let us try, and I know that you're supposed to use a zigzag when you use yarn, but let's see if it would hold on to the yarn if I did it. I mean, I am not sure because I've not done this before, but you know what? There's always a first time. So let's see here. If I was going to make some kind of design, and I'm doing it based on the foot of my machine here. Whoops. Let me grab that. I think the stitch is enough that it's small enough. And I'm making it up as I go along, y'all. That's what you would be doing if you were doing something like this. You'd be making it up as you go along. Just a thought that came to me while I did this. And what I've done is I let the needle come all the way off the yarn before I lifted it and moved it to the right. And then I'm catching it on the edge of the foot each time. So it gives it a bit of a distance. And I'll show you here in a minute the results if you want to do this. And then of course now you would use red thread. Don't be using pink and yellow. I just did that to show. Just one idea. I'll do a little bit more so that you can get an idea. Let me make sure you're okay. Wasn't sure if it was on or not. I'm having issues with my phone right now. Of course, this isn't straight because I haven't been paying attention since I was in the middle of showing you this. And of course, you could, let me get one off of there, pin this here, you can pin it back and forth and then just come straight along with it. Okay, one more. I'll take that off. And that was using the double needle because it grabbed it each time. Now you can hardly see where the pink went across of it, but the pink is showing up here. So you'd want to play with whatever thread you want for the project that you're doing. Now let's go to a smaller needle and try that out. So now this time I'm using the 4 needle. So that's the distance. And then I want to tell you I was having difficulty threading the one. So I used bee gloss, which I'll show you here in a minute. And all I did, and I'll show you what I did so that you guys can do it, those that haven't used it. First, I'm going to go ahead and just do a plain straight stitch to give you an idea of the distance between the two needles. Now this one has enough room with this foot here to go ahead and do a zigzag. So let's do a little bit of a zigzag. And let me see. And what you do, now let's say that you don't know for sure if it's going to work. Don't just automatically push your pedal down and start sewing, because that's how you'll break your needles. Go ahead and do a practice with your wheel and turn it. And so I know that it has not touched my foot on the right hand side, and then when going to the left, it hasn't touched my foot either. Now I took my width up to 3.5 from a 2.5 that it's normally on when it's a straight stitch. So then I'm going to go back and forth. And then what I'm going to do is, normally if you were to be attaching, this is considered accessorizing, putting the little thing on. If you were doing that, what you would be doing, now you can either put it between the needles, which let me see if I can even do that, because I didn't think about that. And these are a handy pair of grips. I've got a couple of them, a couple of pairs. All right, so now I've got this coming straight through, and there are feet to do this with. We're going to do it with this open toe foot. I'm just going to keep it straight, and then I'm just going to slowly zigzag. It's going to zigzag over the top of it. Try to keep it in between the two. I probably ought to do, let's see. I know what I'll do. It's actually grabbing the yellow, because I have it downward towards the yellow one. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to keep the distance between this yellow thread and that one so that it does what I want it to do. I'll show it to you here. Okay. All right, so you can see the straight stitch on that. When I started zigzagging it, it skipped 2 stitches there. And now I made it so that the zigzag on the 2 threads, only the bottom one grabbed it. See that? Normally what you do, you take this with a straight needle, just one needle, and you zigzag back and forth over it. Now, let me show you the bee gloss that I used. I used that right there. Now, this was in a box, so I didn't buy it, but you can buy it online. Upside down. So it looks like that, and you can tell I've used it. And what I did was I took my thread and put it in there. I took my thread. Now, this is on the machine before I actually threaded it. I laid it down, pushed it like this, and then twisted it in my right hand. I just twisted the thread a little bit and twisted a little bit more. And then it puts the beeswax on it so it can go through the needle a lot easier. And that's what I did. Now, as for these things right here, okay, and these are grips. As you can see right here, they are surgical grips, and they lock into place. That's once and twice, so that when you've gripped something, it doesn't go. And these come in real handy. Now I know that I have 2 pair. I'm not sure if I have 3, but these are the best things. As you can see, the teeth right there, that's why they grip them. And you can get this way when you pushed your thread through your needle and it has just an 1/8 of an inch sticking out, you could take these and grab the thread and pull it on through. So these are really good. Now this time around, I've got it set up just like I had it. I haven't changed anything with the width or the length. I'm going to decrease my length, and it's 1.0, and I'm going to increase my width, but I'm going to try and see first to make sure that it does not hit my foot. This is a 4. It will not hit it that way, and it won't hit it that way. Okay, so we can go ahead and proceed. I'm going to go a little further to see if I need to change my tension. Right now my tension is at 4.0. It doesn't look like my stitches are loose, but it did skip a stitch. So I'm going to tighten my tension to 4.4. Let's see if that will help. Nope, it didn't help because it still dropped a stitch. Let's see, I'm going to go up to 5.0, and it might not even like my, I can't imagine. I don't know if I have enough, if I've got enough. Let's just take this extra piece of fabric with the stabilizer. Maybe it doesn't have enough stabilizer on it. And we're going to just slip it in here like this. And we're going to see if that's going to help it. This is why you always want to make sure you do a practice. That is very important. Nope, it's not working. So, I didn't like that at all. Let me go ahead and take it out. And I'm not quite sure. No, it doesn't like that at all. So, let's make sure there's nothing wrong with the needles. Yeah, they look good. Okay. Didn't bend them or anything. I'm not quite sure what happened. Smaller. Almost a satin stitch. I removed this extra piece too. Let's see if that works. Because I'm not sure if that'll work or not. It's not even catching. There we go. No, it doesn't want to catch for some reason. Not sure. Let's see. This is a 2 now. But it's still skipping. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. See, it didn't even catch it at all. But that's the things we got to be aware of. Now this is connecting threads, so this is not the embroidery thread this time. It is the actual thread. And then since I went ahead and I showed you these double needles, and of course you know those other two are the same size, so I just went from the largest, the next, and the smallest. Let's see. I don't think, let me double check to see if this one is that. The last one is bigger or smaller. Hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and put this 6 in there, but I wanted to see the back side of that needle, how it's flat like your regular needle would be up here at the top where it goes in your machine. Flip it over. See, that's round. The other side's flat. So make sure you put it in your machine right. Now I went ahead and I switched to the 6. And I'm going to do a straight stitch first. Now we're going to see if we can do a zigzag. I'm going to take my needle up and I'm going to do the width 1 up. So that's a 4.0, and let's see if it is okay to do that. It might not be. It might be too big, and it's looking like it is too big. See how that would hit my foot? So I cannot do a zigzag with this one either. Along with the 8, they have to be straight stitch, but you can still do some pretty stitching on a straight stitch. Let me show you. It's just going to be a little smaller than the other. And you can also do this design with the yarn, and you know, it can be any yarn. It can be bigger or smaller yarn. So let me put the needles down, and let me get the yarn over here. And of course, you know, the smaller the needle, the yarn's going to be a little different. I'm just going to start it over here off to the side. Let's do that. Just like that. Okay. And then take it this direction. Take it that direction. Take it back. Whoops, I didn't get enough. I gotta do a couple more stitches. There we go. And off. All right. We'll just make for a smaller zigzag. I'll lay it down here so you can do the comparison between the two. But let's go ahead and do the zigzag like that one. And let's see if we can get it to go down the pink this time. I think right there. Let's see if I can. I'm going to be running over my pen because, you know, that's not a good thing. All right, let's go down here. And hopefully my pink will catch it. Let's see if that's the case. All right. see how this works. I'm not sure if it'll... Nope, it won't work like that. Well, because I cannot zigzag it, but I wonder, let's see here. I can do this. Now, this is something different. I've never done that before. Let's see here. Oh, I like that. Let me show you what that looks like. Alrighty, so you can tell, I'm going to back up a little bit, that this is smaller, because of the distance here, than this. And it's because the distance between the two needles. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. I really like this. So when I was coming along, I went ahead, now this is a 2.5 stitch. I went ahead and had it grab on this one and make a line on that one. So that's another clever little thing that you could use for some embellishment on something. Now you're probably thinking, well, could I put 2 pieces of thread through my one needle? I'm going to say yes, you can. I used the beeswax. I threaded my one single needle with both those threads, the pink and the yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a straight stitch on this first. And it's 2.5, just like before, nothing's changed. As well as, go ahead and I'm going to do a zigzag. And I'm going to take my zigzag down to 3, because it automatically came up 4.5. And the length I'm going to take down to 2. So I have my width at 3 and my length at 2. And let's see what it does. Now that puts a very close zigzag. And then let's go a little further apart. So I just went up 1 point. The width is the same. And it's catching it really tight on both sides. And then let's see it without the yarn. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and do a zigzag. And let's do a straight stitch. Alright, let's cut it off. Alrighty, so here was the straight stitch. Then I zigzagged it, and see, it caught it all in there. Made it a little bit wider here, which you can actually see the puncture. Here you can't because it's so close. It is the width of the yarn. Let me move the... And then here I zigzagged, and there I straight stitched. But see, you can put 2. And looking at my needle, I could probably put 3. It was just going to take a little bit more wax to get it through the first time around. But you want to be careful because with the pull, it may break the thread. So I wouldn't be sewing super duper fast. Alrighty, that's all I got for today. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Click on that little bell so y'all hear my notifications. And I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.